New York City, thanks for the PR. It's been 2 weeks and I've taken a lot of time to look back on that race, look back on the training and think to myself, what did I do differently? How was the race? And really break down everything so that way I can learn from it. And if you take the time and watch this, hopefully you're able to learn from it. It's gonna be a lot more just me word vomiting and spilling out all the things that I thought about than it is gonna be cutting it all up. So let's kind of break down the trip and everything that went into it. If you saw the race video, again, I was fortunate enough to run for Michelob Ultra this year and be a part of Team Ultra, which is one of the coolest experiences. And they do a really nice job of some fun events, but also not overloading the schedule to make your body tired going into the race. So Thursday got in, landed about mid-afternoon and was able to go get a little jog in down the Hudson River and enjoy the sunset, shake the legs out. And as we all know, when you travel, legs feel a little rough. Really the main focus was get some food in and get myself a good night rest on Thursday and start the carb load Friday and Saturday. As we go through this, I'm gonna do my top lessons that I learned, but lesson number one that I learned from not PRing for 5 years and doing it now in this race, I have been beyond underfueled in every single race that I've gone into. This is the first time I've ever paid attention to the food that goes into me a couple days before the race. And let me tell you, it was a lot of calories in order to get to that 650, 700 grams of carbs that I was looking for. And so just on day one alone, I was able to hit about 650 to 675 carbs, depending on how you break down some of this stuff. But let me read to you what was consumed on day one of this trip. In order to get myself to these numbers, I was using Scratch High Carb, which is 100 grams of carb in one bottle. So it helped get there without like overloading myself with a ton of different types of fructose juices and things like that. On day one, I did 2 of those 100 high carb scratch drinks, a bagel, a banana, another banana, orange juice, pizza, an entire large pizza to myself, yes. Non-alcoholic beer, bagel, another little bit of orange juice, and that was what I had for the day. So 675 grams of carbs on day one. Day two, when you look into Saturday, and again, preparing myself for this race, this is where I was like, whoa, you consumed a lot of food. I did 2.5 things of the Scratch High Carb, so 250 there. 3 bagels, pasta and pizza for lunch, 2 non-alcoholic beers, and another giant plate of pasta to equal out 700 grams of carbohydrates on Saturday. So just in 2 days before, I had 1,375 grams of carbs, which is significantly more than I have ever had. I look back and I go, man, what are some of the things that I learned about this race and about everything going on? The fueling to me is something that I've missed on nearly every race I've ever ran. And now that I understand this, it's getting my mind into the set like, oh, I can go chase a PR again. I can push these ultras that I'm going to be doing in the front end of the year a little bit harder because now I'm starting to understand kind of that additional discipline of fueling in these marathons. Now that I have fueled correctly and gone through, Friday was very relaxed. Just went and got a short jog in the park, ate some food, and relaxed from that standpoint. And then Saturday was really getting myself dialed in for the race. Saturday morning, woke up. We had a Michelob Ultra shakeout run, which is so awesome and so much fun. I've gotten to know these individuals on this team over the last several years. I've been blessed to run with them a couple years, and it is just an incredible group of humans. So got 3-4 miles in through Central Park, nice and chill, nice and relaxed, couple little strides. And then we went up to the breakfast where we were able to have some pop-up bagels and enjoy those, have some camaraderie with the team. Spent the rest of that day legs up, not doing a whole lot, and just relaxing my Saturday, getting the legs ready. We did have that Team Ultra dinner the night before, which they do an incredible job of just loading up with great food for runners. For me, plain pasta. Just ate a whole bunch of pasta, and that's about it. Spent some time with the friends that I get to run with and enjoy the time frame to get myself ready for Sunday. Saturday to Sunday, I don't think I've slept that good going into a marathon probably ever. One, maybe my body was just so overloaded with carbs. It was just like I need to sleep and process this. But secondly, I just think I knew my body was ready. I think the training has gone so well through the duration of this entire training block. I had nothing to worry about. It was really just me and race day that it was going to come down to. Getting myself ready, I told myself, I said, nothing new, stick with what you know and get yourself ready. I had brought with me 7 precision gels, which is what I had been using the whole training block, as well as an empty flask filled with my precision carbohydrate that I tend to use. Again, not sponsored. This is just what I use. It's worked best for me. And is it potentially placebo that works for me and that's why I use that gel? Maybe. Is it just that's what sits well on my body? Also, maybe. But it just works. And so having all that nutrition on me, as well as around mile 8.5, I had one of my buddies who was going to hand me a water bottle that I could just dump into the soft flask. So thank you, Jamal, for the water bottle, and got myself ready to go. The other thing that I did is I trained 2 runs in the Asics Meta Speed Sky edition, and they were great. And then for some reason, when I put them on my last run, they bothered my left foot a little bit. And so instead of allowing myself to worry about that, I went back to the trusty old Vaperfly version 2 is what I ran in. And yeah, were they a little beat up? But again, nothing new. Didn't want any excuses going into it. So wake up. If you know anything about the New York Marathon, they always say it's the marathon before the marathon. Woke up 4:30, got the race kit on, put everything together, got on the bus and headed over to Staten Island to get yourself ready for the race. I know a lot of people complain about this part of the race, but to me, it's what makes the New York City Marathon so special is getting on the bus, going over the bridge you're going to run, seeing the Manhattan skyline, spending that hour, 2 hours before the race at Staten Island, and just soaking it all in before the race actually starts. Yes, can it be taxing? 100%. But if you have experienced it and you mentally are ready for it, it's not going to be that bad. So you'd see my race plan. I talked about this last time. Start out conservative, make sure I'm consistent across, hold back all the way until I get to the Queensboro Bridge, and make sure that there's no excuses getting to 5th Avenue and really being able to push it. And so I shared the 5K splits on my race video, which you can go watch, but I want to break down kind of what that felt like. If you know anything about New York, the biggest thing is you go up, your first mile is big uphill, second mile is the biggest downhill of the entire race. And so it's really how do I control those 2 miles and then get into a rhythm. The goal was around a 19:10 to 19:30 on that first one. And because I was feeling so fit and so relaxed, I ended up with a 19:08 on the first 5K, which was totally fine by me. As I came off the bridge, finished that first 5K, consistency on the gels. I think I hit a gel every 3 to 4 miles like clockwork and didn't stop. Even when I had Jamal hand me the water bottle at mile 8, I still kept going with the gels. I didn't stop through the whole thing. This is by far the most amount of calories I've ever consumed during a marathon. And I think I'm going to have to continue to go back to this well because the body was ready. The body had what it needed to push. First 5K dialed in, stayed around that, finished at 19:08. And then according to Strava, which is always a dicey thing to look at your splits on a race like this, following that, I was super dialed in around that 6:13 to 6:10 mark. that's where I wanted to sit, was somewhere between 6:10 and 6:15. But with the New York City Marathon, everything is undulating and everything is rolling. So let me read that as I get to the Queensboro Bridge. This is the mile splits that I hit. 6:13, 6:14, 6:12, 6:09, 6:13, 6:09, 6:08, 6:12, 6:05, 6:10, 6:04, and then that's when I get to the Queensboro Bridge. It was so consistent for me, and I filmed a clip, and I'll play it right here.
Miles in right now, I'm like having to really hold back to run about a 6:12, and I'm telling myself, relax, chill. And so that's what I'm trying to do. There's a big pack in front of me, but I'm just holding on and making sure no mistakes this year.
When I hit mile 4, I told myself I'm holding back to run a 6:12. And I knew that today was going to be a special day. Is when I'm holding back and running my marathon pace, I said, no mistakes, get to First Ave and you're going to be totally fine. And that's what I ended up doing and getting to the Queensboro Bridge. Once I got to the Queensboro Bridge, I said, relax your way up.
Onto the bridge, chilling on the uphill, 6:21.
Let go on the way down, and then assess where you're at, because that's about mile 16. So on the way up the bridge, we had a 6:18, a 6:24, and then on the way down, which was a minus 700 feet of climbing, a 5:43. I also, again, cut to the clip right here.
All right, it's the best I've ever felt coming off the Queensboro Bridge.
Coming down the Queensboro Bridge, I told myself this is the best I had ever felt coming off the Queensboro Bridge. If I just stayed steady and consistent as I'm going up First Ave, I know I'm going to have the juice I need to get to Fifth Avenue. Working through, going up Manhattan, continuing the gels, I ended up grabbing one of the sports inside. So I had a total of 8 gels that had 30 grams of carbohydrates in it. Then I had a soft flask that had about 30 calories in it. I had somewhere between 230, 240, and 270 grams of carbohydrates through the entire duration of the race, which is crazy to think about. Heading up First Avenue felt great, never felt out of control. Up Willis Avenue Bridge, which oftentimes can be a leg burner and really be that time frame for where I've blown up in a couple New York cities, still felt strong. Came down through the Bronx, back into Manhattan, and getting to Fifth Avenue. Once I hit Fifth Avenue, this was when I knew PR was already a done deal. It was push through and up Fifth Avenue and enjoy Central Park and just soak it all in, because it's been 5 years since I got to this point. When I looked at my times after, going up Fifth Avenue was what told me my fitness and all that hill work that I had done in Northern California training through this was money. Up Fifth Avenue was a 6:20 mile. It's 100 feet of climbing at 6:20 mile, and it didn't feel pushed. It didn't feel hard. And the funnest part is it's been 4 years, maybe 5 years. It's been 6 years since I've been blowing by people going up Fifth Avenue. And it was awesome to just be passing people like they were standing still. Again, I'm not racing against anyone, but it's still motivation as you're passing people to keep going. And just hammering up Fifth Avenue at a 6:20 mile was so awesome. Got into Central Park, felt so good. What oftentimes feels like some stingers of the rollers in Central Park felt like it was flat. And man, I just look back on that training, which is lesson number 2, is if the goal is a PR or the goal is a hard effort in New York City and your training is not incorporating 2,500, 3,000, 3,500 feet of climbing, I think you're kind of doing a disservice for yourself and not getting yourself ready for the back half of this New York City Marathon, which is so challenging. Crossed that finish line, and man, it was one of those moments where I stood there at the end of the finish line. My camera had died, so I didn't really have a lot of footage of this, but I think I stood at or near that finish line for a good 10 minutes. congratulating other runners and just soaking it in, because 5 years of not having a PR, tons of efforts, tons of chasing. It was such a surreal, happy moment for me. And 121.35 half, negative splinting for a 2:42.19, and it's just surreal. And now that I'm sitting here 2 weeks after the race, I think and I go, could I have found more time out there to bring that time down? And I stopped thinking about it because I'm just so happy about how that race went. But also, I think I'm going to go back next year, and I think I'm going to give it another shot to lower that PR in New York City. Big lessons and big takeaways for me. If I'm not, or you're not counting what type of carbohydrate intake you're having 2 days before and during the race, fueling is such a huge part of the marathon. Secondly, regardless of how great I feel, when I put a strategy in place, especially at a race like New York that has a harder second half than first half, is I have to stick to it even when I tell myself on camera how great I feel at mile 4. I have to stick to that plan until I get to where I say I can start to tighten the screws. Number 3 is doing a hilly marathon. I have to train on hills. And even though I moved to a completely different place, the training grounds here got me ready to be extremely successful on the hills of New York City. And I couldn't be more happy. I'm going to put together my training plan at some point in time and put it in a PDF so you all can have it and see what I did over the time frame. But as for now, I think I'm going to take a break from the roads, get myself into the trails, and enjoy some time. But New York City 2025, I'll see you at the starting line.